Nobody was better than Joe. When Joe truly believes in something, you don't want to argue. You don't want to argue with that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Joe is a smasher. He will straight stomp you like Vanderlei Silva and Dan Henderson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He don't fuck around. And we just clicked on that. We were hardcore conspiracy theorists, you know. I mean,
I have subtle conspiracy theories, but they're ones that are so unpopular.
Which one?
I'm even afraid to say it because people get offended when I say this.
Which one?
I think the government created AIDS.
Okay.
To kill black people and gays. Okay. I believe that.
I mean, if you read the book by Bill Cooper, he talks about basically that.
Yeah.
They created a gay agenda, and there's nothing against gay people.
Well, there's
created the great gay agenda, and then made AIDS to kill them off.
I wouldn't doubt it. If they could do it, they would do it. I wouldn't doubt it. But when you hear, there was a guy on Joe Rogan's podcast, is Dr. Doucheberg or something like that.
When the one Callum was on?
Yes.
Where the guy was saying that AIDS is just because of drug use?
Yes.
Yeah. I listened to some of that.
Basically what he's saying is AIDS is a condition. You know, AIDS is like acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Mm-hmm. It means your immune system is broke. It means your engine is broke, you know? So a lot of things can cause that. Malnutrition, a whole shitload of viruses can make your immune system stop working. So in the case of AIDS, originally before it was called AIDS, it was called GRID, gay-related immune deficiency. It was a gay disease because in the 70s, all the people that were showing up with their immune system shot were gay. So they were thinking shit. And the gay people were marching going, fuck, why are you guys ignoring us? Fucking all these gay people are dying. Don't ignore us. We need funding. We need to find out what the fuck this is. They were making a lot of noise going, why are you guys calling it gay-related immune deficiency? This is bullshit. So they decided to look into it. They took, this is according to Doucheberg, right? They took a bunch of people that were dying of AIDS, and they all did tests on them, and they found out that 40% of them had HIV, of all these people. So just from that report, they just ran with HIV causes AIDS. But they didn't even, no one asked, like, what about the people that didn't have HIV? Why are they still dying of AIDS? They didn't give a shit about that. They just went full blown. We're going to call it AIDS now. We're not going to call it GRID no more.
Really?
And if you got HIV, you're getting
AIDS.
So that's what they thought. So people started getting tested, and people were coming up HIV positive, but they didn't realize that that's not conclusive that HIV causes AIDS, because 60% of them didn't even have HIV.
Yeah.
It was either 40% didn't have HIV and they were still dying of AIDS, or 60%. It's a 60-40 thing. I forget out. It's either way. Either way, not all of the patients that they did the tests on, according to Doucheberg, had HIV. So what the fuck were they dying? How were they getting their immune system shot? So they never really got into that. They just said HIV, boom. So what they ended up doing is when people came up with an HIV positive test result, they would just get them on AZT, which is a medication that they stopped using for cancer patients because it was killing them. The AZT was killing them before the cancer, so they had to shelve the AZT. But now with this new AIDS, they go, let's bring back AZT, and anybody that is test positive for HIV, we'll give them AZT, and the people were dying of AZT, not AIDS. Some of them people, who knows, according to Doucheberg, they were given AZT because they had an HIV positive result, when in reality, they probably would have lived if they would have just figured out how to control the HIV.
Yeah.
So what they ended up doing, they ended up realizing, okay, they knew that, you know, let's stop AZT. Oh, we got a new cocktail. This is better and it was safer. So they stopped AZT for cancer treatment, and then they stopped it for AIDS or HIV treatment. So there's a lot of fun. An industry blew up, like all the AIDS tests and all this shit.
That's what makes me crazy.
Think they'll ever cure it?
No, there's no money in curing it.
Well, what they found out, according to Doucheberg, is that what was killing their immune system, according to him, was not all. It was generally the hardcore drug users. There's a gay way to use gays use certain drugs like poppers and anal nitrate or amyl nitrate. What is it?
Amyl nitrate.
Amyl nitrate.
Yeah.
And poppers.
It'd be too convenient if it was anal nitrate.
Yes, yes, yeah, of course. You're right. So those, and I'm just going by Douchebag.
Yeah.
He said those two drugs are very popular amongst gay people to loosen up your rectum to make anal intrusion a lot easier. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why they took it. And then something about amyl nitrate, right when you're having an orgasm and you take it, it's like it's like gays love doing that.
Oh, I didn't know
Nothing
about
wrong with enjoying your sex.
Yeah.
But it was those poppers, those things that make your butt loose, and amyl nitrate, a common, and then, speed, of course, and heavy alcohol use. They found that most of the people that were already dying of AIDS, from their immune system was shot, was from these drugs. It wasn't from HIV. It was actually the drugs. So, that's what Douchebag says. I don't know. I'm
my
no
only
expert.
problem with that is that people, and I haven't seen the study, but there are people who got it through blood transfusions.
They got HIV, right? So when they get HIV, then they put them on AZT, and then they get killed. Was that?
Was that Arthur Ashe? Did he get put on AZT?
I don't know. I don't know.
But he was the first round of guys that got it from blood transfusion.
The big problem was, as soon as someone gets an HIV positive test result, they put them on some hardcore drugs, and the conspiracy theory is that they're dying from the drugs, not from the HIV. The drugs are fucking them. That's why they had to pull AIDS. They don't give AZT out to AIDS patients no more than they used to. They used to do it for cancer too. They don't do it anymore. Why? Because it's too fucking dangerous.
See,
according to Douchebag.
I was in Atlanta doing the Laughing Skull. This was a while ago, and I said something about AIDS, and some bunch of people from the Center for Disease Control, CDC, were there, and they said, you know what? And by the way, they work there. They said, what we call a straight guy with AIDS? And I said, what? And they go, a liar. And I went, really? And they're like, it does. Straight guys can't get it.
There's a lot of things that didn't make sense, though. Like when AIDS first came out big, like in the 80s, they were saying by 1992, 1 in 4 Americans between 18 and 25 are going to have AIDS. There was a big scare.
Not one straight guy I know, not one has ever gotten AIDS.
Yeah, me neither.
Not one.
You would think hookers, right? You would think hookers all over Brazil would have AIDS, right?
Dude,
and they don't.
There's a lot down there do have AIDS.
What about the porn industry? Should be rampant with AIDS.
Let me just say one thing though about that. There are straight guys that get AIDS, but they get it through
needles.
Yeah,
I believe that. Yeah,
remember what AIDS is.
AIDS
is your immune system don't work. Like the African kids, the Ethiopians that are getting AIDS, they're calling it AIDS because their immune system doesn't work. But they're getting AIDS from malnutrition, not having food.
Really?
But they still call it AIDS to get aid. There's like some kind of those non-government organizations that are all disguised in philanthropy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They come in and there's all of them. They have just like an awesome name like Hope for Africa Foundation. Sounds great, but really they're doing some kind of money laundering, some kind of crooked shit going on.